Hello, friends. Welcome to another exciting edition of the Happy Half Hour. It's Thursday, right?
I think so.
I got the day of the week right for the first time this week.
Dave Canales did say, to everybody else it's Thursday, but to us it's Wednesday. It even says Work Wednesday on all of the screens around the stadium.
People think I'm an idiot because I just walk around in my daily life not knowing what day of the week it is, and it's because football. It's broken my brain. But here we are. It's Work Wednesday. It's Thursday, which means it's Happy Half Hour time. So thanks to our friends from Deep Eddy for sponsoring the Happy Half Hour and bringing you all this high-quality entertainment. We do it for the people.
If nothing else... If everything else in the world changes, the one constant you can count on is the Happy Half Hour podcast.
That's right.
Do not hold this against us if we change our schedule next week.
That's right. And here's the thing. I came in today in a good mood, and it started right off the bat, and I tell you why. I walk in this morning, I get here fairly early, and I go straight to the coffee pot because I drink a lot of coffee. And Rico Dowdle's standing there. It's one of those communal pots. You kind of do the thing. The coffee comes out. So Rico goes up. He puts his cup there under the thing, and he pushes the lever, and he goes, shh. And I looked at him, and I said, that's one. And he pushed it again, and I said, that's two. And Rico Dowdle looked at me and said, and I quote, I'm going to take the fine for 3 pumps on this one. And that's a story about Rico Dowdle drinking coffee at the same time I'm drinking coffee. Welcome, friends. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a big week around here. Your 6-5 Carolina Panthers are heading out west at some point later this week on a day I'm not quite sure of to go to San Francisco and play the hated 49ers on Monday Night Football. How about that?
Are they hated? Is that a big rivalry?
Everybody's the hated. Of course it's hated. Have I not taught you NFC West history around this place? For the first 7 years of franchise history, this team was in the NFC West until the
I did know that.
Until expansion.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
They realigned and created the NFC South, but from 95 to 01, this was, in fact, an NFC West rivalry.
Okay,
and
that makes sense then,
your Carolina Panthers. The other day in a meeting, as some of our other, even younger people on staff said, are the 49ers really anybody we pay attention to? And I was like, yes, because of those first couple years. So, of course, all of you people who are listening to the Happy Half Hour and watching know that the Carolina Panthers beat the hated 49ers 3 out of 4 in the first 2 seasons in franchise history, 95 and 96, won the NFC West. And that was when the 49ers were at their Steve Young peak.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a lot of famous cats running around out there, and your Carolina Panthers went out there and took it to them. Dom Capers always had a great line, especially that first season when they played their home games at Clemson and would have to get on a bus and ride down to Clemson where traffic is notoriously bad.
Yeah.
Dom Capers liked to say the only difference between a road game against the 49ers and a home game against the 49ers is a hot meal and stewardesses. And that's the story. And that's the story about Dom Capers. So anyway, we have touched all the bases already, but this is a big football game. Panthers are 6-5. They're over there in that In the Hunt graphic on the right-hand side of all your screens, and they're kind of digging it. They're feeling pretty good. Life is good around here. Yeah. They're getting used to the idea of, okay, this is a place where we want to live. Mm-hmm. We like this neighborhood. We think we might stay. So getting used to being in big games, that's been Dave Canales' message all week. This is another, he talks about every week being a championship opportunity because it's another opportunity to learn something. You know, it's go on the road. It's play in prime time. It's have your schedule disrupted and adjust to it. Mm-hmm. And that's been his thing all week. And that's why he wants to call today Wednesday and screw me up because he wants the football team to approach this thing very matter-of-fact, just like they do every other week.
That being said, this one is going to be different. Like, it just is. Because they're going to have a full day of Monday to kind of just sit around and wait for the game and wait till they leave for the field. It won't be as big of a difference just simply because it's 8 o'clock here is 5 o'clock there. And so, you know, it's not like you're losing a whole day. Do what?
It's 3 hours. I was just helping you with the math.
5. Yeah.
I was just helping you with the math.
I don't think of it as 3 hours because then I want to make that. Yeah, well, I guess that actually does.
Listen, we ain't going to be out there long enough to change the clocks, all right?
It's still
8:30.
You know, it is going to be a different day. It's not like a Sunday night football either where you can sit around and watch Sunday football while you wait. And so guys were talking today about what they do, and they're like, you know, everybody does something a little different. Some of the younger guys haven't had a primetime game in the NFL yet. They did at college. And so kind of reverting back to that, Nick Scott compared it to Fridays in high school when like you've got to build up all day to a game and the excitement and anticipation that comes with it. So we'll see what they look like. It's going to make that first quarter interesting. What do they look like coming out of that after a day of both either anticipation or boredom? And this is going to be a good coaching challenge for Dave Canales, too, to kind of keep them focused and make Monday night at 8 o'clock / 5 o'clock feel like Sunday at 1.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know. There's a couple things I want to point out here. Number one, my partner here is playing hurt. She's feeling a little under the weather, but I feel okay. I've got my shots and everything.
I'm trying not to breathe towards you.
I'm prepared. Don't breathe in my general direction. I did not put on my hazmat suit today. But Kassidy's playing hurt. She might have to hit this deep eddy on her way out just to kind of loosen up the bronchial passages or something. But no, the other thing I was going to point out is maybe you've noticed Dave Canales is kind of a type A personality. He's very on always. And so I have this picture in my mind of what Dave Canales would be like if he was ever just like laying in a hammock and relaxing, reading a trashy novel or something like that. I just can't imagine it. I just can't imagine Dave Canales with leisure time on his hands. So I asked him today, I said, do you ever get bored waiting around for kickoff? He's like, no, there's all kind of stuff to do. Of course there is, Dave. So you're a man who's filled up every minute. Dave Canales, that coffee me and Rico Dowdle were drinking this morning, Dave Canales makes it nervous. That's how much energy he's got. But they've got their plan. They've got that stuff. And it's kind of, once we get to this point in the week, they're sort of into their on to football, and they're working on the things. And, there were some news and notes out of Thursday's practice today. The biggest one is Bryce Young lives. He's okay. He's running around. That ankle's fine. He's not, running around with any kind of protective material on it or anything like that. He's just out there being Bryce and having a good day. I always love when people try to ask Bryce, how's your ankle feeling? I'm blessed.
What's he going to say? It's falling off.
Right.
This is how it ends.
Bryce's answer is always the same. He just kind of grins. He's like, good. Yeah. I'm blessed. And that's how every Bryce Young injury question begins. So stop asking if you're ever tempted to do that. But no, Bryce is fine, but they do have some other injury stuff. I mean, linebackers are going to be an issue again this week. Christian Roseboom, Dave Canales said today, would be out this week. He picked up a hamstring late in that game down in Atlanta the other day and wasn't able to finish. They know Roseboom's out. They're playing wait and see on Trevin Wallace. Trev's missed last week's game, and the 3 before that, he would get a little dinged up, and Claude Charles had to come in and finish for him a couple times. And so they're playing wait and see to see if he can get him back, because that's going to be important. I mean, you've got some guy named Christian McCaffrey on the other team. Maybe you're familiar with him. And so you want that to be as tight as you can. I mean, they've got Chris Barnes on the practice squad. He's a guy with starting experience in Green Bay, in Arizona in the past. He's a trusted agent in that case. They've got Muma Jungmeta came in and finished the game. In case you people only read Panthers.com and don't participate in all of our spoken word properties, that is how you say it. It's Muma Jungmeta. And Muma's a good dude. Yeah. He finished up the game, and Dave talked about all those possibilities, but obviously if Trevin Wallace is well, you want to get him out there because, again, that McCaffrey guy, pretty good at football.
And it's not even so much just the physicality, although Trevin Wallace does bring a lot of it. But, Chris Barnes, Muma, Claude. We saw Claude finish with 10 tackles last week, I think it was.
Career high. Congratulations, Claude.
And so those guys, are physical. Trevin does have like a really, really strong level of physicality, though. But it's more so than Nick Scott made the point today. He was like, if neither Roseboom or Trevin are out there, he was like, to be honest, it is a little bit of an adjustment just because you get into a flow with games when you've got somebody who's calling the plays and how you play together. And so that's going to be a little bit more responsibility kind of on the back end as well with guys like Nick Scott, who have played in this defense for a long time, just kind of making sure everybody is where they need to be and that they're not faltering a step because, buddy, this is not a week that you can afford to falter in the linebacker core. Because, Christian McCaffrey, like you said, George Kittle, they make their money off yards after the catch. And George Kittle is the biggest one that does that. And he lives right there across the middle and in the flats. So you've got to get to him and get to him quick.
Yeah, and, with Brock Purdy coming back and playing last week, obviously the 49ers get back a little closer to what they're used to being. And, we'll see. They know it's Monday night, too. They know it's prime time, too. So and they've got their own playoff considerations on the line. They're also firmly in that wild card chase. I don't even think they're over here in the hunt with us on this side. They
might lead their division because they have a tiebreaker, I think.
Well, the Seahawks are doing pretty well, and I think when I start thinking playoffs, I've kind of penciled Seattle into that spot until further notice. But the reality is 49ers.
They do not lead their division. My bad.
Yeah, I know. There is the Rams. There are the Seahawks. So
they have the most division wins, though. They're 4-1 in their division.
But the point is they're playing good football, and they're capable of better football because, they've gone through some stuff. They're missing some dudes on defense and guys that make a big difference. But it's still, until the Carolina Panthers proved themselves a couple weeks in a row doing the things they did down in Atlanta, spreading the field, throwing the ball effectively to go with the stuff they can do in the run game, then we'll see. But, they're a little more used to playing on that stage than the Carolina Panthers are. But, again, it all revolves around Christian McCaffrey. And let's be honest, everybody around here still loves that dude.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey did all the things the right way. I have never seen a guy more locked in. I mean, as much as Dave Canales loves talking about process and having a schedule and having a routine, Bryce would have loved this dude.
Yeah.
Because Christian McCaffrey was almost manic about his preparation, and he wanted to make sure everything was right because he had a plan for every week, and it worked out for him. I mean, Christian, obviously a great player, and a lot of people around here have got a lot of fond memories. That dude, I don't know that I've ever encountered a more competitive cat in football. Like locker room ping pong.
Uh-huh.
There were categories of players in the power rankings. It was like Christian McCaffrey, everybody else. And CMC's just one of those dudes. Like whether you're playing chess, whether you're playing cards in the back of the locker room, whether you're playing ping pong, whatever it is. Christian just has this compulsive need to win everything, and it would be insufferable if he wasn't so adorable. He's such a good dude. So
he kind of is their offense right now. And granted, with Brock Purdy coming back, George Kittle had one of his best games of the season last week with Purdy back. But I mean, you can't ignore what Christian's doing. I think he is their leading rusher and receiver, which sounds about right, right?
Yep. Leads the league in yards from scrimmage. That sounds pretty familiar around here.
He can do it all, and he can do it anywhere on the field. Derek Brown said today, he said that kid has the best vision I've ever seen, or something along those lines. He's like, his vision is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
And to stand there and on the practice field and see him coming at him, he was like, I thought I had him multiple times, and he jumped the other way.
Right.
And he said, so we've got to all be ready for him to be anywhere at any point.
Right. You know that gif about they had us in the first half.
They had us in the first half, not going to lie.
Not going to lie. That's life with Christian McCaffrey. He creates his own holes a lot of time, and he can find a little bit of space and get through it in a hurry. So it's going to be fascinating to see him, but that's just part of this game. I mean, I think it's big for the Carolina Panthers for their own stuff.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we'll talk more about this as the week goes on. But there's a lot of guys growing into this thing right in front of our eyes. We talked the other day a good bit about Corey Thornton jumping in and playing a more prominent role. Teteroa McMillan obviously had a huge game the other day. He won one of the awards. Which one was that called?
FedEx Air and Ground.
There you go. Was he air or ground?
He and Bryce. They were both air. It can either be both air, both ground, air or ground. It's just two players, and it was Bryce and T-Mac. First time this year that a team has had both winners.
Yeah, that's right. That was the other cool thing about Bryce the other day. Obviously, he won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. You throw for 448 and win on the road, that's generally going to get you one of those weekly awards. He was the fifth Carolina Panther to win a Player of the Week award, along with Ryan Fitzmoney, Sam Martin, Trayvon Merrick, and
Rico
Dowdle. The last time the Carolina Panthers had five guys win was in 2017, and the names were Julius Peppers, Cameron Jarrell Newton, Luke Kuechly, Jonathan Stewart, and
Dang, those were all my guesses. Josh Norman, maybe?
Demir Bird.
Oh.
Thanks for playing.
I tried.
That's all right.
So basically, you're saying those are all on the same level.
Yeah, what I'm saying,
This is
Sam
also
Martin, Julius Peppers, basically the same.
Yeah, I hear they strike the same fear. No offense to Sam. I believe it was, who was it this week? It was a former quarterback was telling a great Julius Peppers story on their podcast about, it was Alex Smith talking about when the Panthers were playing the 49ers one time, and the left guard kept trash talking Julius, and the 49ers left tackle, and I know the name and it's blanking on me.
Joe Staley.
Yes, Joe Staley turned. Alex said it was so funny. They get back in the huddle, and Joe Staley comes over and grabs the left guard, and he's like, "Stop riling him up. You don't have to block him every play."
That's right.
So.
But
A great Julius story. But this is also the first time this year a team has had 5 players of the week.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Carolina Panthers breaking
having
new
fun
ground
over
every
here.
time. I mean, and that's the thing. We talked about the other week going from 2 wins to 5 wins. Now they're at 6, and it's almost like house money at this point. The improvement continues. I think, regardless what the record ends up being this year, we will be talking about the strides they made during this season, setting up whatever comes next. So.
And I think it's important to remember with what comes next, so to speak. They statistically have the hardest schedule in the NFL left from here on out.
Details.
And so, just keep that in mind when we're looking back over what these next few weeks bring and the results that come. I mean, think about it. You're facing here, let me pull it up.
They got
next 2 weeks, you're facing a 7-win team and an 8-win team.
That's right.
And then you get a bye, and then the Saints, and then you're facing the Seahawks, which is another 7-win team,
and the Bucs,
and then the Bucs twice. And so, I think Canales pointed it out today. He was like, 4 of our next 5 opponents are all firmly in the playoff race. This is going to be a little bit of a gauntlet.
That's right.
And T-Mac basically said today, if that's not what you want to play, then what are you doing here?
Exactly. Hey, speaking of teams getting on rolls and stuff, you went back and watched.
Yes, I did.
Now, week 12 in 2015 happened to be Thanksgiving week.
Yes,
and
it
you
did.
know what? I didn't even go back and watch that game last night, but I kind of remember the Carolina Panthers. Who was it they played? Oh, it was the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
When the game started, I was like, oh, I've been waiting to get to this one because I've heard so much about it. And I remember vaguely watching the game when it happened, but, not all the details.
And this is one of my favorite parts about you going back and watching 2015 games for the first time.
Yeah. It's like a whole new experience, and which is why I was
Spoiler
shocked
alert, they won.
and almost fell off the couch when 59 seconds into the game, Coleman had a pick 6. And I was like, oh, okay, we're just getting this started off right away. Barely had even gotten in your seats yet. And then Luke had a huge tackle on the next drive. Des Bryant and Josh Norman were doing so much small talking during the pick 6 that they weren't even watching it. And I say small talk. I think I actually meant to say smack talking, and it auto-corrected it.
Yeah, there you go.
Because they were getting in on.
There was nothing small about the talk between Dez and Josh.
At one point, this was just a Luke-heavy game.
As it turns out, Luke Kuechly's good at football.
Good at football. Who would have thunk it? He covered Des Bryant on a deep shot downfield and saved a touchdown. And then he had a pick 6, just an incredible play. Read it the whole way. It was like textbook. The next play from scrimmage, he picked it off again. This one, he just went up and grabbed it. And the best part of it, though, was Kurt Coleman coming flying in and laying out Jason Witten before he could even realize what had happened. Because it was Luke on Jason Witten, and he just jumped up in front of him and grabbed it. And, before Witten could react or tackle him, Coleman just, lays him out. It was pretty funny. At that point of the game, Luke had more catches than Des Bryant.
That's right.
At the end of the first half.
And while Des Bryant may have wanted to punch Tony Romo in the head
Luke
at that
actually
moment,
did.
only Luke Kuechly had
He
done
sought
it.
him out.
Luke Kuechly's one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. I mean, he's just a delight of a human being. I kind of hate him sometimes because he's too perfect, but Luke Kuechly is not only good at football and, he's just polite and nice. He's not only your favorite football player, he's your mom's favorite football player. And your mom loves Luke Kuechly because he's so nice. And Luke will get animated talking about the glee he took punching Tony Romo in the head. It's kind of funny. It's like that one out-of-character moment where he just turns into Tommy Trimble or something for a second and
like
just
right as he goes
going
into the end
bananas on somebody. But, yes, Luke Kuechly did, in fact, pick off a couple passes, punch Tony Romo in the head. Good day.
There was they didn't score an offensive touchdown until the second half, and it was kind of funny too because like Cam could have walked it in, and instead he like went around 3 guys and then did a front flip into the end zone. It's like, why make it easy when it could be epic? And then from there towards the end, like Tony Romo left the game. I think he was done for the season after that. And then Matt Castle came in. They scored a late touchdown. Got a 2-point conversion on Luke, and I thought he was ready to choke somebody, maybe even himself, for giving up that 2-point conversion. It's like, dude, you're winning 150-6. Like, chill. But during that, Cam was like turning around to the Panthers fans that were there. This was towards the end of the game at this point. And he started like a "Let's Go Panthers" chant. And he realized that the camera was like right in front of him. And he starts telling the camera, he's like, I wanted to start the wave instead, but I couldn't get it going. It was just such a funny moment because the game is still going on, and Cam's just over there talking to the camera on the sideline about like starting the wave.
And that's the way it was. That was a big one. That was a good one. So cool things happen when you get in front of a national television audience. You never know exactly what it's going to be. And that's why you guys have to tune in to Monday night. What are we going to do? We're going to wait till Tuesday to tape the next episode of the Happy Half Hour? I promise you.
Don't know.
You think I don't know what day it is today? Let me get on a red-eye flight back from
a
San
red-eye
Fran.
flight next week from San Fran, the week of a holiday.
Yeah,
I'm going to just get through next week.
We've got no shot. I've heard it's Thanksgiving. I haven't heard Arlo Guthrie's Alice's Restaurant for the first time yet.
It's Thanksgiving. It's time to pull out
That's right.
WKRP
in Cincinnati. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly, and they might fly. But we'll be flying in a couple of days. We'll be heading out to San Fran. We'll bring you all the latest. Keep it locked on Panthers.com. It's going to be a busy week. We got a lot of cool stuff coming your way. Keep it locked on the YouTube channel for this podcast and all of our other fine
Go watch the
alternatives.
Rico Dowdle mic'd up. It was really good.
Yeah, Rico mic'd up was awesome. Again, he takes the fine for the third pump of coffee, but not any celebration penalties. But he was good. All the good things are happening this week. Keep it locked on Panthers.com and the YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us this week, and we'll see you, sometime next week on the Happy Half Hour.